coming in for my friend and guest right now, Alan West, who everyone knows, Lieutenant Colonel Alan West. He is an American hero, and he's also. Well, I want to ask him about this because I'm just looking at the bio on Twitter right now, on which, sir, you are trending. I don't know if you saw that. You are number 5 worldwide right now on Twitter. Chairman of the, or at least in the country, chairman of the Republican Party of Texas, former Florida rep, retired Army Lieutenant Colonel, and obviously Hold Texas, Hold the Nation, his book. Good afternoon to you. Happy Friday to you, sir. We're pleased to have you. So, have you seen that you're trending? Just wanted to ask you that, first off.
Hey, Dana, it's great to be with you. No, I hadn't been watching that. We're here at the quarterly State Republican Executive Committee meeting down in Tyler. So, had a press conference, and my phone, the text message is blowing up, of course. But, we're just looking at God leading us and prayerfully considering future opportunities to continue my service to God, country, and to the great state of Texas. That's it.
So the press release, which just came out, it says that you've submitted your resignation to the officials meeting this morning. You did. So you are effectively resigning as the chairman of the Texas GOP.
As of 11 July, we had to do things according to our bylaws. So that gives opportunity for transition for the body to have at least 30 days to be able to, hold an election so that they can select a new chairman.
So my next most obvious question is, when are you making your announcement that you're running for governor?
Now, that's such a leading question. You're really good. and so that's one of those things where you ask, hey, sir, how many times do you beat your wife?
This isn't even a bad thing. I'm just, I'm just asking for the Republic. That's all. They were curious.
Well,
there are a lot of people asking.
Well, the important thing, Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans that I've made for you, plans for your welfare, not for calamity, for a great future and hope. So I'm just going to trust in the Lord to lead me to what he would have me to do. And we'll make that announcement when that time is right, but definitely within the next month, because now I have to, think about, is there support out there for me to do what people are asking me to do and calling me to do, because I have a servant's heart. And I see what is happening here in Texas, the overrunning of our border. We see the decimation of our oil and gas industry, and we know that the progressive socialist left has their sights on Texas, and we cannot allow them to have it.
Yes, they do, and you've understood that better than many others. I will note, this is when I get to turn the tables and compliment you, because that was a really good answer. You didn't say no. You you didn't say no to it. So that I feel like this is, what is it? I feel like Jim Carrey in Dumb and Dumber. So that's a that's a yes? Exactly.
Well, you're
chance?
doing a good job interpreting. Yeah, you're doing a good job interpreting. Look, like I said, the bottom line is that, there are things that people are asking me to consider and to look at, and it would be very disrespectful if I just, and disingenuous, if I just, pushed that aside and didn't, prayerfully consider it. Warriors will always stand up and fight for what is right and what is true. And now is the time for constitutional conservatives to have the right type of leadership in this state and in this country to be able to restore this incredible republic.
Yeah, we are speaking right now with Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, who is until July 11th, chairman of the Texas Republican Party, considering a gubernatorial run, although he's saying that he'll make that announcement. We know what that means. He'll make that announcement later on. But I'm just because there are a lot of people they're excited about that. They're just excited about the possibility of an Alan West candidacy. That's all I will say, sir.
Well, it's very humbling, and the calls and the texts and the emails that I've received since this morning, about 8:15 is very special. To include, many of the people here, part of the executive committee, coming up and pledging their support. A couple of folks with tears in their eyes, but that's what we fight for. We fight to give people hope and to make sure that we secure the future for their children and grandchildren.
Yeah, and this is, of course, this comes at a time when this was a very contentious session. I spoke with Dan Patrick just the other day about all of this, Lieutenant Governor of Texas, about Democrats that were walking out mid-session and possibility of another session being called in now to get some of these other items passed. How do you feel as far as where the Republican Party in Texas is? Do you feel like you accomplished everything that you set out to accomplish as chairman of the party?
Well, I do. I mean, the thing is, you're supposed to get Republicans elected. And when you think about the $200 million that the Democrats spent here in November of last year to flip Texas, to flip our Texas State House, to flip, I believe, 10 congressional districts, they got no electoral gains. What I think is very disappointing for constitutional conservatives in Texas is that we had 8 legislative priorities for the Republican Party of Texas that came out from the primary election of 2020 and also the state convention, and we barely got those things through. I mean, constitutional care is still waiting to be signed, a pretty decent religious freedom piece of legislation, and then we have the heartbeat bill that got through when we really wanted to end abortion, murdering of unborn babies in the state. But election integrity, I mean, we have to have a special session for the number one priority that we have. That's not good. Monument protection, still nothing. School choice, and taxpayer-funded lobbying. And you know what is the most heinous is that we're going to continue to have surgical and chemical castration of under 18 years of age children in Texas. That's abhorrent. And so there are things that this legislature needs to do better, but at least we have good, strong Republicans in Texas that are standing up and putting more pressure on the legislators.
Yes, sir. We're talking with Alan West, and we got constitutional carry pass. I saw you went to the range yesterday because you got a new Glock, and it was real. Of course, you had a nice grouping. I mean, it's you're Alan West, but that was nice. You're excited about that.
I gotta hang with Dana Lash, man. You can't. You gotta represent. You put something out there on Twitter or social media. I don't want to get that. Yeah, okay, Colonel.
That's good. We'll go to the range. We'll make a day of it. We'll go to the range and we'll go out and have some fun. You mentioned, which I think is such a great point, the number one priority that the party has, and really that conservatives have, is that voter integrity. And yet, what was it? I think brought up 4 hours before I think session ended. It was brought up 4 hours before, and then that's when Democrats walked out SB 7. So now they're going to have a special session to try to get it passed. Do you first off, let me ask a 2-part question. Do you think that it will pass, number one? And number two, I've never understood the objection to just a simple photo ID to make sure people's votes are protected. You got to have a photo ID to get a vaccine. Nobody's talking about that. You got to have it, to do a lot of stuff. So what are your thoughts?
Well, American Airlines and Delta Airlines obviously are racist because they require me to show a picture ID before I can get on the airplane. So I'm going to try the next time I have to fly is just to walk on the airplane. And I'm going to ask them to hold that airplane for up to 24 hours. Since we can have 24-hour voting, I should be able to show up anytime I want to get on an airplane without picture ID. So it's that type of insidious stuff that we see out there. But when you look at H.R. 1, our states have to stand up and make sure that they're protecting themselves against this unconstitutional overreach by the federal government to nationalize our elections. And that's what election integrity is all about, not allowing unconstitutional actions to be codified.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking with Alan West on all of this. He announced today that he is resigning as chair of Texas State Republican Party effective July 11th. And there's a lot of people talking about that potential gubernatorial run, although some people are wondering if there are going to be Hollywood folks getting involved in it, which I see that kind of as nothing serious. Once people leave Hollywood and they start getting known as politicians, that sort of reception changes. Let me ask you this: speaking of people coming to Texas and moving to Texas, are you concerned about the way that voting will go in the future? I mean, it was great that Texas has such a wonderful business atmosphere, a great business environment. But of course, when businesses come here, they bring people from California and New York, and I know some of them are Republican voters. A lot of them aren't. Is that something that worries you overall? How do you even address that?
Well, there is a big concern. You have two groups of people that are moving from California, Illinois, New York, New Jersey. Those are individuals that have had enough in those failed blue states. But then you're right. When you go out and you court these businesses and corporations that are also suffering under those failed economic policies, when they transplant their workforce here, they got to do a better job of explaining to that workforce why they're leaving California, Illinois, New York, and New Jersey. And one of the things I think that we should stop is this corporate welfare program that the governor has called the Texas Enterprise Fund, which is a taxpayer slush fund. If people want to come here to Texas, they should want to come here to Texas and move their business here because they believe in Texas. They believe in these principles and values of individual liberty and freedom and the ability for growth, opportunity, and prosperity. We should not have to pay people to come here to Texas. And then, oh, by the way, they bring folks that undermine the very principles and values that lured them here in the first place.
Amen to that. Amen to that, Colonel. I'm glad that you said that. One last quick thing for you. You were instrumental. The town in which I live, we had a big critical race theory fight with the school board. 70%. It was not sharply divided as it was so often presented. You were recently at an event I was not able to be there. I was on with Sean Hannity that evening because otherwise I would have been there photobombing your shot with and cheering or something. But a mutual friend of ours had this for some of the parents in the district, and CNN kind of dropped in. They were looking to talk to you because you have also been involved in the fight against critical race theory. And so many people were talking about how you just so deftly handled CNN. Talk to me a little bit about your overall thoughts to CRT and what that poses for academic freedom and just academic success.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's not just critical race theory in our schools. We're starting to see that in our military, where we are having that talk. Critical race theory is the new version of Marxism. It is not based upon socioeconomic divisiveness, but rather racial divisiveness. And we cannot allow this to happen. Look, Dana, you're my dear friend. I love you incredibly, and your husband, Chris. But for someone to say and demonize you as being a racist just because of your skin color, that is reprehensible to me. And so I think that we all should come together and stand against this critical race theory. And hats off to you folks in South Lake, 41% turnout in a municipal level elections, and you crushed them 70% to 30% to make sure that you won back those school board seats. That's where the power is. Our local elections, city council, school boards, to make sure that we have the right type of people honoring our liberties and freedoms and making sure that we are educating our children, not indoctrinating them.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Well, Alan West, author of Hold Texas, Hold the Nation, currently until July 11th, chairman of the Republican Party of Texas, former Florida rep, retired Army Lieutenant Colonel. Colonel, we're grateful that we have you in Texas. And when can we, as we're letting you go here, when do you think that you're going to make a decision as to when you're going to announce you're running? When you're running for governor? When are you going to announce?
You're so good. You should have been a scout sniper in the military, okay? Because you're good at probing and finding a target. We will when God. One of the things in the military, you have go no go criteria, you have measures of effectiveness, you have metrics that you want to meet, and we've got those things that we'll be praying over and laying out. And when the time is right, when God blesses us, the green light will come on, and I'll jump out the aircraft and hit the drop zone running.
There you go, right there. I hope you'll come back on with us, too, because I know people around the state. We got so many affiliates around the state of Texas. They'd love to hear it as well. Sir, always a pleasure. It's so good to see you, and we hope to see you again soon. We need to take you and the missus out to dinner. And congratulations are in order as well. Yeah. Grandpa, congratulations.
Yeah.
Beautiful family.
Yeah, I'm getting up there in age. Thank you, Dana.
You're well. You know what? Are you one of those? Are you gonna pick another name? I'm sorry to keep you. Are you gonna pick another name other than Grandpa? Like my mom wanted to be a Nana. Are you like that?
Well, I like Grandpa, but
Grandpa?
Whatever comes out of his mouth, I kind of like Poppy too. So we'll see.
Ooh, there you go, right there. Sir, always a pleasure, and we'll hope to see you soon. Take care. Thanks for joining us.
God bless. Bye-bye.
You too. God bless.